Hello and welcome to week 7 of my Beachcombing Blanket crochet along. I'm Eleonora, the designer behind Coastal Crochet, and all the details about this blanket can be found over on my blog. Their links are in the description below. So in week 7 we're going to be doing our second side panel, which you can see here. So now you can see both side panels are on. And also in this week we're going to be doing the starting rows of both our top and bottom panels. So here is the bottom rows. So it's the 4 rows, it's 2 rows in the blue and 2 rows in the green, going all the way along the bottom. And then up here we've got the same rows, 2 rows in the blue and 2 rows in the green, going all the way along the top. So that's what we'll be doing in this week, week 7. The tutorial for the side panel is in week 6. It's exactly the same as what we did last week. And so this tutorial just covers those top rows, which we also repeat here on the bottom. And I'll show you how to get started. So remember, I use UK crochet terminology. I do try to translate as we go along and have a copy of the written pattern next to you as we work through these rows. So the start of the top panel is going to be crocheted into the side edge of the first side panel, and then we're going to crochet right across all the 3 squares and then end going across the opposite side panel on the other side. So this is where we're going to be starting, and if you look at the pattern it tells us to make sure we have the right side facing, so have the right sides of the squares facing you, and then join yarn H into the outer top right corner to the side of row 12. So when we did these side panels, this was row 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There were 12 rows here in total, and it's these row ends that we're going to be crocheting into at the start of this top panel. So join yarn H into the outer right corner to the side of row 12. And then it tells us to make 1 chain, which doesn't count as a stitch, on these long, shorter double crochet US single crochet rows. That little 1 chain is not going to count as a stitch. So looking at the pattern, it now tells us to do 2 double crochet or US single crochet inside of row 12. So this is the stitch at the end of the row 12 from the side panel. I'm going to go round the post of that stitch and just work 2 double crochet US single crochet. There we go. And now looking at the pattern, it tells us to do 2 double crochet US single crochet in the side of row 11. So row 11 was this one here. Never be afraid just to pull your work apart a little bit and you can see where the stitches are. So this was the side of row 11. So 1 there, and you can just go across to the bottom of the stitch and 1 there. So you've got 2 double crochet US single crochet to the side of row 11, and then it's 1 double crochet US single crochet in the side of row 10, and that was these shorter double crochet US single crochet stitches. So just insert your hook around the post of that shorter stitch. And now it tells us to miss the side of row 9. So row 9 were these shells, so that's the side of the shell there, but we're going to miss that. We're going to skip over that and go straight to 1 double crochet US single crochet in each side of rows 8 and 7. These were these 2 rows here. So just insert your hook and work 1 double crochet US single crochet to the side of row 8 and 1 double crochet US single crochet to the side of row 7. And now looking at the pattern, it tells us to do 3 double crochet US single crochet in the side of row 6. Now row 6 were these yellow shells, so it was a tall double treble US treble stitch, and we're going to work 3 double crochet US single crochet around the post of that stitch to the side of row 6. 1, 2 and 3. And now looking at the pattern, it tells us to do 1 double crochet in each side of rows 5 and 4. So that was these 2 blue ones So 1 double crochet US single crochet to the side of row 5 and 1 double crochet US single crochet to the side of row 4. And then looking at the pattern, it tells us to miss the side of row 3, that was these orange shells, and then it's 1 double crochet in each side of rows 2 and 1. So that's these final blue rows here. So 1 double crochet US single crochet to the side of row 2 and 1 double crochet US single crochet to the side of row 1. And by doing that, we've distributed our stitches evenly across this side panel to create the start of our top panel. And so looking at the pattern now, it now tells us to do 1 double crochet in the corner chain space of the first square. So we're at our first square now. There's the corner chain space, and it's just 1 double crochet US single crochet into that corner chain space. And now it's 1 double crochet US single crochet in each stitch across the square to the next corner chain space. So we're simply going to be working 1 double crochet US single crochet in each stitch across until we get to the corner chain space at the other end of this first square. So I'm just coming up to the end of the first square to the next corner chain space, and here I am. You can see where these two squares were joined, and then it's now 1 double crochet US single crochet in each of the next 2 corner chain spaces. So that's this one here, so that's 1 double crochet US single crochet in that corner chain space, and then it's the corner chain space of the next square. So just insert your hook into that corner chain space and work the 1 double crochet US single crochet. So now we're ready to go across the second square. So if you look at the pattern, it tells us to repeat from star once more across the second square. So go back to where the star is, and as you can see, it's simply 1 double crochet US single crochet in each stitch across the square to the corner chain space. So I'm nearly at the end of this second square, and then I'm at the next 2 corner chain spaces. So it's 1 double crochet US single crochet in each of the next 2 corner chain spaces. So that's 1, and go straight across to the next one, and that's 2. And now it's 1 double crochet US single crochet in each stitch across the third square to the final corner chain space. So I'm nearly at the end of this final square, the third square, and we're nearly at the final corner chain space. And there we are. And when we get to that corner chain space, it's just 1 double crochet US single crochet into that corner chain space, which brings us to the next side panel. And just like before, we're going to be crocheting into the side of these rows, going around the posts of those stitches. And it's just a reverse of how we started this row. So looking at the pattern, it's 1 double crochet US single crochet in each side of row 1 and then row 2. And then just like before, we're going to miss the side of row 3. So skip over that and go to do 1 double crochet US single crochet in each side of row 4 and then 1 into the side of row 5. Which now brings us to the side of row 6, which was these taller shells, the yellow shells, and it's 3 double crochet US single crochet in the side of row 6. So we're going around the post of this tall double treble US treble stitch. So that's 1, that's 2, and that's 3. And now it's 1 double crochet in each side of row 7 and row 8. So that's row 7, and then here insert your hook to the side of row 8. And then it's missed the side of row 9, which is this shell here, and then it's 1 double crochet, US single crochet in the side of row 10, and then 2 double crochet into the side of row 11, and then 2 to the side of row 12, going around the post of that stitch. And that brings us to the end of the row, and we've gone right across the side panels, each of the 3 squares and the other side panel. And what's really important at this stage, there should be 187 stitches. The top and bottom panels are going to be worked with 187 stitches in each row, so it's really important that's the amount of stitches you have at this point. And so now we turn the work, we're ready to go on to row 2 and go back along all the stitches we've just made. And we start this next row with 2 chain, 1, 2, which counts as the first half treble US half double crochet of this next row. And because that counts as a stitch, we are going to be going into the next stitch along as our first stitch. That 2 chain counts as a stitch, so this stitch here is now accounted for, and we go into the next one, and all row 2 is a simple row of half treble US half double crochet stitches. So it's literally 1 half treble US half double crochet in each stitch to the end of the row. So I'm just coming to the end of the row. I've worked the half treble US half double crochet stitches all the way across, and then if you look at the pattern, it tells us to join with yarn F at the end of the final stitch. So here's the final stitch to crochet into. Go to work your half treble US half double crochet stitch as normal, yarn over, pull through to the front. This is the last stage now of that stitch, and this is where we're going to join with yarn F and then pull this through all the loops on the hook to complete that half treble US half double crochet stitch. And there we go, we're now at the end of row 2 and ready to move on to row 3 in yarn F. And so we turn the work. So at the start of row 3 we make 1 chain, and this doesn't count as a stitch, so the first stitch to crochet into on this next row will be the very first one here, and that's because this little 1 chain doesn't count as a stitch. And so looking at the pattern, it tells us to do 1 double crochet US single crochet in the first stitch and each of the next 3 stitches, so 4 stitches in total. So 1 double crochet US single crochet in the first stitch and each of the next 3 stitches. 1, 2 and 3. And then it says 1 half treble US half double crochet in each of the next 3 stitches. 1, 2 and 3, and then it's 1 treble US double crochet in each of the next 3 stitches. That's 1, that's 2, and that's 3, and then 1 half treble US half double crochet in each of the next 3 stitches. 1, 2 and 3, and then 1 double crochet US single crochet in each of the next 8 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. 1 half treble US half double crochet in each of the next 3 stitches. 2, 3, 1 treble in each of the next 3 stitches. 1, 2 and 3, and then 1 half treble, half double crochet in each of the next 3 stitches. 2 and 3. And what we're getting now, if you have a look at what we've done, is we're getting these little waves being created, and this is to prepare the work for rows that we're going to be doing in subsequent weeks. So this is just sort of laying the groundwork for rows that will follow next week. And so now, looking at the pattern, it tells us to repeat from star 9 times. So go back to where the star is in the pattern, and it's 1 double crochet, US single crochet in each of the next 8 stitches. So we're back to here before we then do our half trebles, trebles and half trebles to make the little wave. So go back to star and repeat from star 9 times, which will take you all the way to the end of the row with just 4 stitches remaining at the end. So I'm just on the final repeat, and I've got 1 half treble, US half double crochet to do in these next 3 stitches, and then I'll have repeated everything from the star 9 times across the row. So you can see we've gone all the way across. And then that should leave you with 4 stitches at the end. And because we're crocheting into a row of half treble, US half double crochet stitches, it's not that clear, so do pay attention. You can see here we've got 1, 2, this is a stitch here which sits just to the left of this half treble, and then do you remember the beginning 2 chain, that counted as a stitch 2. So it doesn't look like you've got 4 stitches, but you do. So you've got 1, 2, here's number 3, and then the top of that 2 chain is number 4. So we finish this row with 1 double crochet, US single crochet in each of the final 4 stitches. So that's 1, that's 2, here if you have a look is number 3 rather, number 3. And then number 4 was the top of that beginning 2 chain, the little beginning 2 chain that we made at the start of the previous row, that counted as a stitch. And so we just make sure that we crochet our final stitch of this row into the top of that 2 chain and work a double crochet, US single crochet. And now we're at the end of the row, and so we turn to go on to row 4. And row 4 is just a simple row of double crochet, US single crochet stitches. We begin by making 1 chain. This doesn't count as a stitch, so as the pattern says, it's 1 double crochet, US single crochet in the first stitch, this very first one here, and then each stitch to the end. So 1, 2, and then just carry on, 1 double crochet, US single crochet in each stitch across to the end of the row. And so here I am nearly at the end of row 4 with 1 double crochet, US single crochet in each stitch to the end. And because that tiny little 1 chain that we made at the start of the previous row, that didn't count as a stitch, this stitch here is the very final one to crochet into. But if you look at the pattern, it does tell us to join with yarn D at this stage, at the end of the final stitch. So just pull through with yarn D. And so this is ready for our rows next week. So week 7 stops here. We have finished the starting rows of our top panel. So you might want to not join with yarn D quite yet, and you might just want to put a little stitch marker through these 2 loops, ready to join yarn D for next week, because actually what we need to do now in week 7 is repeat exactly what we've just done. So everything we've just done here on our top side of the blanket, we repeat these 4 rows on the bottom. So all these rows that we've just done, we repeat along the bottom edge of the blanket, and that will also need to have yarn D joined at some point. So for now you might just want to put a stitch marker through those 2 loops, but when we start our rows next week in week 8, this is where we'll be starting from at this point. So I hope you found the tutorial helpful. We've laid our foundation rows ready to start on some exciting rows next week. Remember to repeat these 4 rows for the bottom panel, and thanks for watching.